Welcome to episode 145 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown, where we talk about every single fight on every single card. We're about to dive into the prelims of UFC Fight Night versus Spivak, coming to you from Paris, France. And just a couple quick housekeeping things. First, hit that subscribe button, help us out. And then also, Harrison's in concussion protocol right now, so just a heads up. That's why he's rocking the Tim Dillon shades. Also, I am not in prison. I just moved into a new apartment, has these weird brick walls. Sick apartment, but I don't have my background or anything set up yet. I'm sure the lighting's awful. I'm sure the acoustics is awful. We'll get that figured out over these next couple episodes. Thanks for bearing with us. We didn't want to miss episode. Man, some big fights on these prelims. Like, I love when I walk away from a prelim with like this feeling of like I just watched some people that'll be on main cards in about 18 months. You know what I'm saying? And I think we got a couple of those on here.
Fully agree with you. I actually would like to start at the start of the prelims though, because the first fight is boring as shit. It sucked, right? So let's start there, and then because the rest of it's crescendo. It crescendo's up. It's great. We get a Basharat Bro in the second fight. We know we pumped. We just got to get through this first one, which is essentially how I think the French crowd felt about Farazern being their or Zara Farron plus 310 being the first French person out against Jacqueline Cavalcanti making her UFC debut at minus 395. Farron is 6 years too late to the UFC. She's 39. It makes no sense. I can't understand. Catch weight 140, by the way. So pick a weight class, 145 or 135, because you can't make 35 and you're 39. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, this was a can crushing. This was a feeding. I mean, not only is she 39 years old, she has a 6-5 record. So it's like,
Felt like a, but
yeah,
she was a former French kickboxing champion, is what they said. But like, dude, her strikes looked like dog shit. Her right hand is so slow I could catch it in midair and feed one back down the middle.
whenever we were in middle school, is that whenever she was a fucking kickboxing champion? You know what I'm saying?
Probably
Like
15 years
legitimately.
ago. So
Yeah, like
2008. So I would have been in eighth grade. There you go.
like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just a day late and a dollar short, or a year late and $100 short. But taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti, like a Portuguese prospect, who they make this matchup unless they're trying to build her up. Like, this is, like I said, this was a can crushing. This was a feeding. I think they wanted to see big things from Cavalcanti. Like I said, the bantamweight division's dead. It needs life. It needs prospects. It needs youth. It needs any reason to be excited about it. It's on life support. I think they want this Cavalcanti girl to be something, which maybe she will be. I didn't see it. I didn't see
I
it.
didn't see. You know what I saw? I saw a girl that has great footwork and knows how to point fight. She knows how to land her strikes and get back out and not get struck. And against a girl that's super slow, not that impressive. So I'm not taking much for her.
Exact last thing that like women's MMA needs is like snoozy point fighters.
Agreed.
Like, that's the exact opposite. Like, we're trying to solve a problem here, and that problem is lack of interest. So like,
We need violent finishes, ladies. We need to get those hands moving.
or at least like exciting techniques, right? Like, don't like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I
if
mean,
you're
I
gonna
support
be
Mackenzie Dern, and she can't really strike that well. She's more of a submission girl, but like amazing submission. Like, and honestly, I will say we saw some fantastic jiu-jitsu technique on display in Paris. Both main card and prelims didn't really hit on the main card, so I want to make sure I do say that. There were some sweet passes, and we'll get to it, but like some guys were making like a mockery of other people on the ground.
For sure. And you talked earlier about a crescendo with these prelims. This fight was a crescendo, I'd say, like in a microcosm. Like, first round, snoozy as fuck, pitter pat bullshit. Cavalcanti won probably because she threw some calf kicks. Farron literally did nothing. It was a snoozy round. Round two, Cavalcanti started to extend the combos a little bit, go to the body a little bit. I did think she did a good job. It was still pitter pat bullshit, but it was pitter pat bullshit to all three levels. She was mixing it up. Um, if you have any takes, like, I'm just kind of trying to get through this fight.
Yeah, no, I feel like every round's the same, and it felt like pitter patter, like point fighting, like great movement. Her footwork is fantastic. Cavalcanti completely dictated the range and where the fight took place, and was never able to be on a straight line for Farron to hit. Now on the other side, Farron walked in straight lines and didn't move her head, so it's pretty easy to point fight an opponent like that. So it's hard for me to take away like a big positive upside for Cavalcanti when what I saw from Farron was so poor. It's kind of that middle ground of like, okay, like the girl got a UFC win, got some experience under her belt, beat a girl in her home country, so at least faced a hostile crowd first fight. That's one thing too. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's see. I guess that's not a great takeaway, right? As far as like hype level fandom.
Yeah, 30-27. The bantamweight division needs youth, so hopefully she can provide that at least. I thought she looked better like a crescendo as the fight went on. I thought the third round was her best round, got a little more aggressive. So hopefully in her next time out, she got that first one out of the way, like you were talking about earlier on the main card episode. So go check that out if you haven't already. And it's like you were talking about how like it's the second fight, like we were talking about William Gomez. Like it's that second fight out that you get to really see what all the hype's about. Because the first fight, you're just trying to get out of there and get a win and get your feet wet. So hopefully in that second fight, we see like the real Cavalcanti and the reason why the UFC's high on her. I mean, performed well, but like I said, against a poor opponent, and it wasn't exciting to watch.
Right, like minus 395, I need to see you land some impactful strikes at least once or twice. She never really landed anything even big.
No, for sure. And let's keep it pushing, man, because we got a Basharat Bro up next. We got Ferocious Fareed coming in at minus 395, 10-0, undefeated, taking on Clayton Rodriguez, which isn't like a can. Like, that's a decent opponent.
Yeah, I actually like Clayton Rodriguez. He's coming up in weight, too. Has the sixth fastest finish in UFC flyweight history. So, but Basharat, I thought, said something that was so smart and a really nuanced take in the build up to the fight, which was this guy's a weight bully. He's one round of fire and then he's done. And he was like, I'm just gonna bait him out for one round and it's gonna be easy past then.
Yeah, I mean, ironically enough, he got it done in the first.
Yeah, didn't even need to do it all.
This fight started with Rodriguez landing a head kick, and I was like, okay, do we have something interesting here? Because, I mean, if you've watched this show before, we're super high on both Basharat brothers. We're all the way bought in. Been shoveling coal for months now. And shoveling coal in the hype train. When you hear me say shoveling coal, that's what we're talking about, building that hype train, believing in the hype train, buying stock, however you want to put it. We're all in on the Basharat Bros. And rightfully so. I mean, Vegas is as well. You see with the minus 395 money line. This fight, you said outside of that initial head kick, which it was cool to see Basharat. It's hard to say tested when he gets a first round finish, but like, hey, he ate a head kick like that. We learned something today. We had never, Basharat, they've been making it look so easy that
it's pretty wild. Like strikes wise here, man. They both land 25 strikes. Clayton Rodriguez only threw 26 though, so only missed one punch in the whole fight. Wow. Yeah, impressive. 96% striking accuracy. That'll be good for his stats. But then you have Basharat on the other side, 25 of 36 is still not bad, but only 6 significant strikes to the head, 3 to the body, and 2 to the legs. So 11 significant strikes for Basharat. His whole game plan was takedowns, which he had 2 out of 5, 3.5 minutes of control time in a 4-minute and 15-second fight. Tells you a lot about what was happening.
For sure. And then, he ends up getting the arm triangle finish, which is more of it's almost like a wrestling submission. I know technically not because you can't do it in wrestling, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he was pulling guard or doing flying triangles. Like that's a sub that manifests from like dominant top control.
Yeah, just pressure. It's a pressure submission. Just slowly just eating away at your opponent, just eroding him until they make that one fatal mistake and you're ready for it and you're ready to pounce. You've been setting it up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, if my memory, doesn't serve me correctly here, because I didn't know, this is all off the top of the head, I didn't note it down, but I believe he got the arm triangle from the incorrect side, like side control on the wrong side, and then completely skipped full mount and like literally hopped over his whole body into the right side to finish the submission, if I'm remembering correctly.
So super beautiful, right? He's in half guard, throws an elbow, like that vicious right elbow. When he throws it, slides it off the top of his head and puts his knee up on Rodriguez's stomach, right? So he's in like 3/4 mount, which allows him to whenever Rodriguez throws his arm up, slides the head under. That's what allows him to go right into full mount as he's locking it up, and that's why he's able to just climb right over, straight.
Yeah, he just hopped right over.
It was beautiful. And then if you even watch his back leg, he does a little windshield wiper is what it's called, right? You put your knee down and then you slide your leg over and you put your foot over the top of theirs so they can't hook their leg back over you or under you.
Because that's usually a submission that doesn't happen super rapidly.
Oh,
Like
it was so tight. I mean,
you have to work your way from half guard to full guard to side control, and like he just kind of went like da 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 da. Like he just like from position to position to position, all in like a couple of seconds.
Right.
And
like that's one
like,
where you can see it happen in 25 seconds, or you can see it happen in 2.5 seconds. And he just did the 2.5 second run.
Yeah, it was very impressive. And yeah, I mean, this guy is a real deal, bro. Like we always talk about bantamweight. There is literally like 30 guys that you can be excited about at bantamweight and young prospects, and we always say it's the deepest division because it is. Like bantamweight's the one division where you could have like a college football top 25 rankings and it would actually make sense. Like
right.
There is so many good bantamweights that I mean, it's insane. But like, what's like 10 through 15 at bantamweight right now? Just on any like
10 through 15 bantamweight is gonna have Pedro Munoz at 10, Umar at 11, Ricky Simone at 12, Jonathan Martinez 13, Yanez 14, Chris Gutierrez 15.
That's so deep.
I know, it's crazy.
You got both these Basharats. You got, I mean, the list goes on and on. I'll say of Umar is kind of like an outlier, weird thing, him being at 11. I think Basharat could go with any of the rest of those guys. Now, he may not be favored, but I also don't think it's like a minus 300 money line or anything. Like, if he's in there with Chris Gutierrez or Yanez, he's probably like a plus 160 dog or something like that. I mean,
yeah, I mean, hell, against a guy like Jonathan Martinez, I could even see him being favored just stylistically. I think he'd be able to maybe get him pressed to the fence enough, make it a grappling affair.
That's what's weird about the Gutierrez, Yanez, Martinez. Like, they're all strikers.
Right. They're all just slightly different. Now, Simone would be a super fun matchup.
Simone.
Because you know what? I bet they start striking. Because neither guy's going to be able to get the takedown.
Simone's so much like thicker and stronger. Basharat's so longer. Like that would be a hell of a matchup. Simone's just one of those tough nights out for anybody, right? Like he's just such a tough night out. Bantamweight's crazy, bro. Because like I want to make crazy hot takes about Basharat, but it's just so deep.
Right, like, it doesn't really make sense. Like not quite. You know, it does, but it doesn't. It's like, yeah, he's maybe 25 or 24, and could he beat 15? Yeah, for sure, but that's just how close it is.
There's other guys too, and I'm not. None are coming to the top of my brain right now because there is so many of them. But every single week there's some bantamweight where you're like. Every week there's some bantamweight where you're like, this guy could be a guy.
Right. No, that's the thing is like, every week we see a new. The Charrier guy's a bantamweight. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But no,
but we'll fight at bantamweight. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, and Lapalus, which we'll get to.
That's the bantamweight. That's the bantamweight, which we're gonna get to.
Yeah.
But
he's another one.
He's another one. And the hell, I thought Kalen, whatever his name is, Lawford looked good too. Like we'll get to it, but bantamweight's just always deep as fuck with these guys.
So deep, go deeper. But we'll keep it pushing here. My phone just hit 20%.
Super interesting fight coming up. Oh, I definitely want to talk about this next fight, round by round. We have to, because it's a how do you score the fight kind of a thing.
For sure. And we got Jocelyn Edwards, one of my least favorite fighters on the roster, coming in at minus 125, taking on newcomer debut plus 105. Some steam behind her. I saw a lot of interviews leading up with her on social media and stuff. She seems to be like navigating her career well in these early stages, building some hype, so getting some headlines.
Strong personality.
Women's bantamweight, which we just talked about, like needs life like badly. So I'm here for it, honestly. And yeah, I mean, but as you mentioned, very close fight, very hard to score. You could argue.
I think Lawyer Ball is very available is the reason I wanted to ask you scoring by rounds here.
Let's get to it, man. How'd you score round one?
Perfect. I'm glad you asked. So round one, right, it starts with both girls really going for it striking, which is what we thought it would be, right? We think Jocelyn Edwards, we think striker. But what we see essentially is, I thought, shit, I just moved all my notes. We see Cornell doing really well in the first 90 seconds and just peppering her with kicks, kind of chopping her legs, throwing knees, trying to kind of establish a range. Then it kind of pitter patters out. They trade for 2 minutes or so, and then Edwards ends up getting that takedown. And then Cornell is able to reverse it. Now, without that reversal, I think it's like a razor thin round, right? Where it's the minute 40 of control that Edwards would have had, with a good amount of like damage in between, and then Cornell winning that first 90 seconds. But Cornell reversing, I thought was enough for me to score the round for a 10-9.
I feel you, and I agree with you because I have the word close in my notes. But what was not close was the damage.
Okay,
Cornell,
great. I'm glad we're seeing the same. I appreciated her damage a lot more.
Edwards, like, you could argue, got like no damage off in the whole round.
Literally none.
There was some snoozy clinch control. She got the takedown, didn't get any ground and pound. So, I mean, yeah, some positions were close, and it was competitive. Damage was not close at all, and for that reason, it was close round, I guess, but Cornell, I feel confident saying won. You did as well. Did all the judges give that to Cornell as well?
Yep, absolutely. There's only
Fair
one
play.
round that one judge, because there's two 30-27s, not to give it away, but that won't give away how close this fight was. Because round two,
No.
I mean, I don't score at 30-27. I had 29-28, but it's interesting. What? Okay. What? How do you score round two? Because I think round two is Edwards' best round as far as grappling success.
Yeah, Edwards got 2 takedowns in the round. However, in the first one, Cano was able to get back up. Like, she got her down but wasn't able to keep her down. And then the second takedown got reversed. And once again, Edwards with like virtually no ground and pound and firmly no ground and pound damage.
And Cornell with good body knees and good elbows, even though they were minuscule in the second round.
I thought it all... The pivot, the crux of this scoring this round to me came like at the end of round 2. Cornell was able to reverse the position, take the back, somewhat go for a choke. Just optically, she ended the round on Edwards' back, and Edwards was the one trying to grapple. And Edwards got no damage off. I just hate, and I'm an Edwards hater. So you combine those 3 things. I went Cornell into 10-9.
So this is the round where I actually gave to Edwards. I actually thought that Cornell wasn't really close enough with the choke and didn't do any damage in her time in control, right? So I wasn't going to hold... Like, damage and control, neither girl was doing any damage when they were in control, as far as, like, positional control, right? But Jocelyn Edwards had a lot of positional control around, like, 2.5 minutes almost. So, and Cornell, like, was meagerly ahead in damage because she wasn't nearly as successful because Jocelyn Edwards was able to make it such a grappling battle that round. So with that,
she
I gave
would
it to
lose the grappling exchanges. Like, yeah, she would get a takedown, but then couldn't keep her down, and then she'd get a takedown and get reversed. I feel you. This round was hard to score. It was a hard round to score. Because you're right. Any round where there's not a lot of damage is by definition hard to score if you're scoring off damage.
Right.
So I feel you. Edwards would engage in the grappling, give her the Fugaze control time stat, but then would get reversed or let her up, and I don't know, she would lose the exchanges that she started. Fair play though. She did have more control time in a round with no damage. So you have to score something. You score the control time stat. I don't hate it.
That's why I was going to say that I lawyer ball my way to this round for her. Is I literally just go the damage is so slight from either girl that I'm like, well, who has more control? And it just so happens to be her.
My argument's very lawyerable. I'm scoring the girl getting taken down for winning the wrestling. So I feel you. This is a weird round to score.
Two judges agree with you. One judge agrees with me, though. So
I think round 3 might be a hot take for me. I gave round 3 to Ed.
See, I thought round 3 was super close. I thought that split decision was going to be on the table here because I did score it for Cornell in 3, but I thought it was barely enough damage to win it.
I'm kind of being a hypocrite with my scorecard here because I thought Cornell won the damage in 3 very clearly. However, the difference to me was that Edwards actually went for that sub.
Yeah, got her back.
She did something offensive on the ground. In a fight where she got multiple takedowns per round and had done dick with it. So it took her fucking 9.5 minutes or 12 and a half minutes to realize that, like, oh, maybe I should do something once I get her down. She did. I thought the choke was like fairly close. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't like
was. She
a
had to like
nothing
push the
attempt.
arm off her chin, and if she doesn't push it off right there, she obviously passes out.
Moment of the fight that got close to a finish for either girl. Um, it's a very lawyer ball scorecard because like I'm lawyering right now. Like I'm trying
Well,
to like
and I was gonna
convince
say,
myself.
you know what's weird is I would say the exact same things as you, like same exact points, and then I would lawyer ball it the opposite way and say that Cornell did just enough damage in winning that damage by a big enough margin, but did enough as well to overcome the grappling success.
I don't even hate your argument. Like I just argued against it. Like I your argument is damage based, which we're supposed to be scoring damage here. So like, yeah, no, I feel you. I think the right woman won the fight though. Cornell.
That's kind of how I feel too, right? And it's the weirdest thing because I think, honestly, end of the day, razor thin fight. Because like if I saw this fight in a bar, really wouldn't know who was winning because you keep seeing Edwards like headlock throw, homegirl to her back, and then hold her on her back for the longest, and then get reversed, but then get up, and then the striking is kind of for Cornell, but then Edwards gets the headlock throw, and you're like, God damn it, who's winning this fight?
1,000% agree. And I'll say for that, because Edwards was on, I think, a three-fight win streak, if I'm not mistaken.
Do the
So,
two
like,
30-27s feel like home cooking?
no, because I mean, we just kind of described the scenario. Like, I gave Cornell 2, you gave Cornell 3. That's a 30-27. And we both gave her 1. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's a very interesting fight. That's why I was
But
so interested to hear you round by round on that.
also could have been a split decision for Edwards and, like, would
Right.
not have been a robbery.
He's
Would not
right.
have been a robbery.
Right.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Good win for Cornell. That's another one where I wouldn't have either no bet or I definitely not bet Edwards. That was a no bet for me. So I mean, but the
The
dog
only
does
bet
hit.
that would have been on was a $5 all French parlay.
Fair play. That's fun to do on these foreign cards.
And
Let's keep it
Farron would have
pushing
fucked
here
us on the first fight. But yeah, let's keep it pushing.
because we got a guy up here. The guy 12 months ago, if you would have told me Ange Loosa matters in the welterweight division, I
Nah,
would have been like,
nah, nah. I'm fading both these guys. Neither guy deserves to be in the UFC. That's my hot take of this.
oh, that's your cold
That's
take.
a hot nope. It's a hot take. Neither guy
Oh,
deserves to be in the
Loosa does.
UFC.
Fuck that, bro. Loosa has some boxes that he checks that are like elite cardio, elite athleticism.
He got out cardio by a guy he beat the fuck out of for 12 minutes.
But the pace was so insane. Sprinter cardio, not like you know what I'm saying. Like he has that sprinter cardio,
Okay, well I've seen him get finished a few times too.
bro. Loosa is like, yeah. All right, well let's get to this because I thought Riz McGee looks like dog shit and looks like he's not UFC
I
caliber.
think they both look that way.
So looked fantastic. You could argue like what to do with that data, but like he in a vacuum, he looked awesome here. You are wilding, bro. Like that's a finish against anybody not named Riz McKee,
Bro,
basically.
I'm
Like
just
he
saying,
beat.
the man's wins are John Howard and AJ Fletcher coming into this fight.
AJ Fletcher's not horrible
He lost the third round due to cardio.
because he fights like a wild man for 10 minutes.
I'm just saying, the cardio take was crazy. Like, he gasses himself out, which is poor management. So, like, whether he has great cardio or not, sure, but, like, he gasses
Yeah.
himself out.
It's more of I think like a
Mm.
experience and fight IQ.
I will
cardio thing.
I will give forgiveness to this fight in that aspect because like the 50 punch flurry that should have finished any human on this earth.
That's what I'm saying.
That one I'll give you a pass.
That's kind of my point.
Okay, I'll give you a pass on it.
Like, yeah, it's
But
like,
Reese McKee, are you telling me he deserves to be in the UFC?
no, he looked like dog shit.
Well, he took
got
a round
caged.
off of this guy.
A round. Also, I scored round 2 at 10-8. So, like, kind of makes up for the round. Like,
Dude, poor fucking Reese McKee. His first fight was Hamzat Chimaev in the UFC in COVID lockdowns in fucking Abu Dhabi. His next fight
Yeah.
was Alex Morono in 2020 and lost decision and they just said bye. And then he fucking won the Cage Warriors title and defended it. And now he has to come back against Ange Lusa, who, this is not the hardest debut or like re-entrance. But at the same time,
but it might be though, bro. I think you're
is.
sleeping on Lusa. You're sleeping on Lusa. I mean, Lusa is he's one of those guys that don't want to fight.
Listen, I scored round 2 10-8 for him, okay? Did you? Okay, how the fuck do the judges not? No judge goes 10-8?
Fuck, that's 10%. No, that's wild, because I thought, I didn't even use the word should have or could have been stopped. I used the word should have been stopped. Like, that was a 40-punch, unanswered barrage that McKee somehow survived. Like, does go on to win the third round, so any smart mark out there that's like, oh, well, the proof is in the pudding, shouldn't have been stopped. I think that, both things could be true. I think he only won the third round because, like we talked about, Lusa, throwing a 50-punch combo that lands is going to gas anyone out, and adrenaline.
Bro, Reese McKee's chin. Shout out to Reese McKee's chin. Legendary chin.
Chin. I literally have a sub note just that says RM chin. It was wild. But I don't know, bro. Lusa was winning the striking. He was winning the takedown. Ground and pound nasty, Wei Lee level of ground and pound.
All right, wait. Just time out, though. Let me just ask you. Santiago Ponzinibbio, Ange Lusa. Who are you taking?
Right now? Give me Lusa. But I'm also kind of a Ponzinibbio hater, and Ponzinibbio's getting old, and I think Lusa's a freak of nature.
Okay. All right. I have another unranked welterweight. Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland, give me Kevin Holland. But Kevin Holland, he's fighting JDM. Welterweight's kind of like bantamweight, where the unranked guys could be ranked in a different era. I think Holland's you could maybe even use the word world class. Holland is very, very, very.
I guess Holland is ranked now 13, by the way. He is ranked.
Okay,
now, but
yeah. He beat Kiss. Yeah, exactly.
I just think there's other unranked welterweights that are still much better than Ange Lusa. I'm not sold on him. I think he looked much better than he ever has. Fair, give you that.
But I remember saying this his last fight. Whoever it was, the Fletcher fight, we're
losing that last round was so tough, though. They keep giving him cans to crush, and he doesn't finish the cans. Finish your can, brother.
What I'm going to say here, you hear it in basketball or football about prospects, shows flashes, hasn't put it all together yet, but shows flashes. Every fight, Lusa does something that not other guys could do, or
and he's going to keep getting better because you know why? His training partner is Michael Chandler. So he's gonna get that rub. That's when you train with a guy that's that good, that starts to rub on you.
He fights like Michael Chandler. He's poor man's Chandler.
I know he is. That's why I don't love it, because that's terrible style if you're not Michael Chandler.
He kind of is Michael Chandler. He's fucking buff. He has a chin. He
literally
fights
is
like a wild man.
Yeah.
He carries his nuts in a wheelbarrow. He's kind of Michael Chandler. He's Black Chandler.
But he's poor man's Chandler. Shout out. That's a great inside hardcore joke. Let's keep it pushing because I know your phone's running out, and I don't want to not talk about Taylor Lapaloo or Lapalus is what we're gonna call him because we're American, right?
Lusa gets the win. McKee is not UFC caliber and kind of makes the Cage Warriors belt look for gays. I scored at 29-27. These judges are savages.
I did too.
Round 2 at 10-8. But I'm sorry. Let's keep it pushing, mainly because my phone's dying. But those points had to be made clear. Yeah, you're right. Taylor Lapalus is how we're going to say it. Minus 170 favorite, training partner of Morgan Charrier. These French dudes are coming up. Taking on Kevin Laughlin, though, who was getting all the hype and all the rub and all the promo videos and all the. I knew about this guy coming in. He's talking mad shit to the French fans and to the media. And, American media, MMA media, just, hype up any Irish fighter with a little bit of swag.
Bro, I'll be real.
It's
5'6" at bantamweight is not usually a problem, right? That's fine. That's not you're too short. It's a little short.
Though,
it's a little short.
Nowadays, though.
It's a little short, but if you have an extended reach, you can make up for it. His reach is 66 inches or whatever. So it's as same as his height. It's not extended at all. However, Lapalus reaches 73. The guy's 6'1" wingspan, and he's 5'6". I was like, okay, that's the story of the fight. It has to be. He can strike him from 6 inches further away.
And just, I'm sorry, man. Laughlin's game. I gave round one. No, I did not. Sorry, the TL and CL threw me off. I just used initials in my notes. But Laughlin he looked unrefined, man. Like, he looked like all of his highlights were just him ground and pounding guys. So, obviously, to ground and pound a guy, you got to get the fight to the ground. And he never got close, bro. He whiffed takedowns for 15 minutes straight.
Lapalus good takedown defense, though, too. I honestly think that Dog and Loughran should be acknowledged for trying that many takedowns, even though they were poor. But Lapalus' takedown defense was nice.
I feel about Lusa the way you feel about Laughlin. Like I thought Laughlin looked like dog shit. Like he looked like not UFC caliber. Because bro, he was shooting takedowns.
I agree with you 100%. He looked like he was there way too early. He needs another year and a half.
Yeah, but there was no plan B at all, and there was also no self-awareness to if there is a plan B, he didn't have the fight IQ or self-awareness to be like, hey, I'm not getting this double leg on this guy.
I
not today,
you.
I'm not.
100%.
And it was just the whole definition of insanity is trying the same thing, expecting different results. This guy's insane as fuck. He just shot double legs unsuccessfully for 15 minutes and got pieced the fuck up. Now, granted, round two, I thought, was decently close.
I thought round two was really close, and I thought Lapalus stole it back. And none of the judges agree with me, which I was shocked by.
The judges gave round two to Laughlin?
All three.
Yeah, I didn't. I did have it close because he finally got that takedown. He tried so hard for it, but did really, dick with it. He didn't really get any ground and pound off. And then Lapalus was able to get back up and put more damage on him. Like you said, steal it back. So... yeah, Lapalus was winning before the takedown, got up from the takedown, and won after the takedown. So, I mean, and Laughlin didn't really do any ground and pound with the takedown or attempt any submissions or anything. So I really don't understand how you give Laughlin the round for just a takedown.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to me, man. They credit him with 6.5 minutes of control time in this fight, but I would push back on that and say that, he had 45 seconds of legitimate control time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We talked about it ad nauseum on the pod, but failed takedown does not equal clinch control time. Underhooks or a tie clinch, that's clinch control time. A failed double leg is with the guy's feet spread along the cage is not clinch control time. That's not we got to fix that stat. We got to.
I think Lapalus is a guy though. 19-3 or 20-3 now. I think he's a guy at bantamweight.
Hell of a record.
And at bantamweight, he's we've already talked about it. Like we always say ad nauseum on the pod, it's so fucking deep, man. This is another guy to throw into the mixer of great bantamweight talent.
Yeah, because I mean, he's a striker who can defend takedowns. He's not going to go out and shoot his own double leg, but he'll get up if you take him down, and he'll stuff a lot of your takedowns. And good luck hanging on the feet with him.
Yeah, and what's weird is he fought in the UFC in 2015 and 16 and went 3-1, and then they parted ways with him.
I saw that. That's weird. But back then, the business model back then was different than it is now. They're trying to just flood the board, and it's if we sign enough guys, one of them will turn out to be a superstar. Back then, I feel like they were a little more prudent, and they're oh, if this guy's not exciting or this guy's not world elite, nowadays I feel like they're much more guys. If you go 3-1 in 2022, you're getting re-signed, or 2023, you're getting re-signed. Back then, it was oh, if you go 3-1, but they were decisions or they were snoozy or they were against cans. I don't know, bro. Back 5 years ago, I feel like the business model's changed a little bit.
I mean, Lapalus been fighting since 2012, but could be a guy, honestly. Has wins over Wilson Hayes and Nate Maness recently, which...
yeah, that Nate Maness win's a good one. He's definitely,
hell,
back into UFC caliber.
Wilson Hayes fought Mighty Mouse for a belt in 2016.
That's right. Wow. Wow.
So it's like
So yeah, he's
not a terrible list. I mean, he's 31 years old, so he's been fighting since he was 18 or 19.
on some Holloway shit.
Oh yeah, a lot of miles, but man, this guy might have 4 more years of like legitimate prime in him. So I kind of like him moving forward.
No, me too, man. And I think I'm out on the Lachlan hype train.
Just too soon. He needs to go somewhere else, like Cage Warriors or something, do his thing for a little bit, and then come back. He's just not
yeah, yeah.
ready yet. He is a lot of raw talent.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, that wraps up the prelim segment, episode 145 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. Check us out on Twitter at our X at Beefy Breakdown. And yeah, man, fun episode. Appreciate your time, man. Thanks for everybody that watched.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Next week we will join you guys in Australia for America versus China. Sean Strickland versus Izzy.
That's that. Deshaun Strickland versus Izzy. Yeah, looking forward to it. We got a pay-per-view up next week. Also, isn't Kevin Holland JDM on that card too?
Yes, it is.
Nobody's talking, bro. I am juiced to the gills for that fight. Nobody's talking about it. Like, I'm honestly more excited for that than Izzy Strickland.
Or Tuivasa and whoever the hell he's fighting. Yeah. Yeah, Tuivasa Volkov, but way more juice still for the Kevin Holland fight.
I think I might bet Volkov in that.
Ooh.
Just because stylistically, all he's going to do is you watch the Gone film, just kick him 90 times and you win.
Might have to do an NFL Week 1 UFC Australia betting breakdown coming up this week before
That'd
the
be
card.
fun.